Good evening. The March 18th meeting of the Sayreville Board of Education is now called to order. Please rise for the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Hill, roll call, please.
Mr. Callahan?
Here.
Mrs. Chudkowsky?
Here.
Mr. Fernandez?
Here.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Here.
Mrs. Maldonado?
Here.
Mrs. Napolitano?
Here.
Mrs. Pabon?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mrs. Bloom?
Here. That makes two of us. Ms. Hill, will you please summarize executive session?
The board discussed personnel, including but not limited to agenda items, student matters, a grievance related to the Sayreville Education Association 2023-24:3, negotiations related to the Teamsters, and matters falling under attorney-client privilege.
Thank you. Any correspondence, Ms. Hill?
No.
I now need a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
So moved.
Second.
So I got Mr. Smith and Mrs. Napolitano. Mr. Callahan?
Yes.
Mrs. Chudkowsky?
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez?
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Yes.
Mrs. Maldonado?
Yes.
Mrs. Napolitano?
Yes.
Mrs. Pabon?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes. Okay, and now the favorite part of the meeting is our student council representatives. Morgan, would you please start?
Good evening, Board of Education members and administrators. My name is Morgan Kuntz, SWMHS Student Council Board of Education representative. I would like to begin with clubs and activities. The variety show was a success. With the variety of unique talents, all the students performed exceptionally and gave it all they got in their performances. The Black Student Union proudly displayed to guests in the Media Center their Black History Month gallery, highlighting the many enormous achievements of African Americans. On February 26th, the high school hosted the 2025 Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Annual Dodgeball Tournament in the gymnasium. The Chippers team, led by Captain Brian Giordano and consisting of teammates Michael Robinson, Joe Santamaria, Jaden Lawson, Alec Kenny, Jimmy Kehoe, Carolina Argati, and Isabella Santamaria, were crowned champions. This event was able to donate over $3,000 to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society this year, which is $1,000 more than last year. Students in Miss Mojus's Advanced Placement Art History class went on a field trip to the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. The museum's collection includes many of the works that they are studying in class. Not only was it an incredible experience to view the art in person, students also sketched, wrote in journals, and staged recreations in front of many of the pieces. The Sayreville Leo Club, with assistance from the Air Force JROTC, Good Deeds Club, National Honor Society, as well as the Sayreville Lions Club and Sayreville Education Association, the Leo Club made over 1,000 sandwiches with snacks and water in bags for the community's less fortunate and senior citizens. Student council members visited the elementary schools and preschools to guest read to students in honor of Dr. Seuss's birthday and to celebrate Read Across America. Congratulations to Mr. Alvarez, who was chosen as March's Teacher of the Month by Mr. Hall. Moving on to sports. Congratulations to Keithan Schiller from the boys basketball team for making the all-division team, along with Sam Jones and Chidi Chukra, who made the all-division and all-conference team. Natalia Glajewski from the girls basketball team also made the all-division team as a freshman. We also congratulate Coach Wojcik, head coach of the boys basketball team, for being named GMC Coach of the Year. Finally, Unified student athletes performed exceptionally during their Bombers Unified basketball game. Thank you to Ms. Karkik, our Unified Sports Coordinator, and all of the coaches, paraprofessionals, and advisors that contributed to the success of this amazing game. Congratulations to the following swimmers for making the all-division team: Emma Smith, Caroline Astorita, Kaylin Kuntz, Morgan Kuntz, Madeline Keegan, Olivia Carmelo, Sebastian Velez, Joshua Gatune, Brody Kanan, Adam Salama, Nathan Oliver, and Michael Wazenko, who was also selected for the all-conference team. Congratulations to wrestlers Robbie Fritz and Bryce Bouchard for winning at the NJSIAA districts. Robbie Fritz, who had 138 pounds, also qualified for the New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association Wrestling Championship in Atlantic City as a sophomore. Congratulations to Angelia Lepre and Zayla Khan from the indoor track and field team for placing at the Eastern States Championship. Angelia placed 4th in the 2-mile and Zayla placed 6th in shot put. Finally, I would like to congratulate the competition cheer team for winning 1st place in the game day division and being crowned grand champions during the AmeriCheer International Championship in Florida. They also earned 2nd place in the varsity all music division. Likewise, we congratulate SWMHS cheerleader Lacey Kent for being selected to the New Jersey Cheer and Dance Coaches Association All-State First Team. Thank you for your time and support.
Great job. Mrs. Bloom, as always, I have several questions.
Well, you can go first.
First of all, congratulations on all division.
Thank you.
And extend that to your sister for us. That's wonderful. Great job. Did you participate in dodgeball?
No, but a lot of people asked me to do it, but I chickened out
Oh,
because I'm terrible at dodgeball.
oh, that would have been fun, though. What about, did you read? Did you guess read?
Yes, I did.
Where?
I went to Truman and Eisenhower,
Oh, that's amazing.
and Truman was my old elementary school, so I saw all my teachers.
The kids must have loved you, though.
Yes, a lot of
Thank
them
you for
hugged
doing
me.
that. Good job. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. And then lastly, I don't know if you're aware of it. You'll be aware of it pretty soon. The Center for Lifelong Learning, the Aquatic Center, is actually holding a ribbon cutting for the reopening of their pool. So
Oh, really?
we're hoping to invite some of our swimmers there because it's their home pool to be a part of that. So you
Okay,
should be hearing
that's
something
cool.
really soon from Mr. Rice.
Okay,
Great job as always.
thank you.
I just wanted to say that I missed the variety show because nobody advertised it.
Oh.
I was very upset. But I did get to see the black students' art display. That was very
Yeah.
nice. They had a poet. It was wonderful. I think I missed dodgeball, too, because they changed the date,
I'm not sure.
something.
Well, I asked her to be on my team.
I was there with Band-Aids.
I wanted to play with Mrs. Bloom.
Dodgeballing with
She
the
was
board
playing, I would
president.
play.
Thank you very much, Morgan. Okay,
Thank you.
Alana, your turn.
Great job, Morgan.
Good evening, Board of Education members and administrators. My name is Alana Serigny, Sayreville Middle School Student Council Board of Education representative. Here's what is going on at the Sayreville Middle School. The Student Council met last week. We will host a Spirit Week April 7th to 11th. We are also preparing for the Anything Goes Assembly on April 11th. We are currently voting on the Spring Service Project. The PTO will be hosting an international festival on Friday, March 28th at 7 p.m. at SMS. The Wizards game will take place at 7 p.m. on April 22nd. They are still looking for staff to join the team. Tickets are on sale for both events on the SMS PTO Facebook page. The middle school FBLA will be competing at the State Leadership Conference at Keene University on Thursday, March 27th. This past Saturday, March 15th, the 3 middle school Odyssey of the Mind teams competed in the Gateway Regional Tournament. All of our students made us proud on and off stage. Nandika Mohana Krishnan, Ashwith Nana, Shivam Shah, Tanisha Shah, Rayan Sharma, Sean Verma, and Austin Yu placed 3rd in the mech animal problem. Elijah Jones, Rachna Kamath, Alexander Mora, Sohan Patel, Dhruv Shah, and Ashika Taskar placed 2nd in their Classics problem and will be advancing to states on April 5th. Allison Braun, Christopher Liddick, Ashley Mejia Cortez, Liam Patel, Joseph Slanger, Terrence Stokes Jones, and Shaylin Zudzik also placed second in their stargazing problem and will be competing in the state finals on April 5th. Now on to Sayreville Middle School athletics. The middle school cheerleading team attended the NJCDCA State Championship on February 22nd to 23rd. The game day team improved their score from last year by 20-plus points and took second. The all-music team placed first out of 6 teams. This is their 6th NJCDCA state title for middle school. The game day team also performed during halftime last week at the Unified Basketball game, which was held at SMS. The coaches want to thank the parents, friends, administration, and teachers for their support throughout the season. Good luck to all of our 8th graders moving on. The boys and girls track teams are selected and scheduled for the first track meet April 1st. The middle school girls softball team has been working very hard in their preseason to prepare for their upcoming season. Please support the girls in their upcoming apparel and crumb cake fundraiser. Coach Vasquez and Coach Eaker are very excited for the upcoming season. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak on behalf of the students at Sayreville Middle School.
Great job, Alana. Awesome job. Can I tell a story?
Sure.
So, at our last meeting, Alana expressed her disappointment with the fact that I didn't say hello to her at the craft night. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
So I made a point of saying hello to her at the cheer showcase.
Yes.
And poor Alana. I walked up to Alana to say hello to her, and she was like, "Oh my goodness." And the kids were like, "Who is that?" And I don't know if you said it, but I think you said, "I don't know."
I did not say that.
You didn't say that?
I did not.
But the look on your face was like, "Oh no, old person, get away from me."
No, I did not. I didn't intend. I didn't intend to look like that.
I'm just kidding, honey. You were awesome.
Well, I was just tired, cheerleading and yeah.
In the middle of your routine, come on.
I know. I had to find a time to say hello, right, Ms. Callahan? And poor
Thank you
Alana.
very
So
much,
I hope I didn't embarrass you, honey.
No, it was fine.
You're awesome. Thank you. Great report, as always.
Thank you.
Okay. I will save the president's comments till later. The ladies can go. Mr. Smith, will you please do your
Absolutely,
highlights?
some district highlights. And this first list, I'm so proud to read because this is quite an accomplishment for these 10 Sayreville War Memorial seniors who achieved the top 10 status based on their GPA for the year. Marissa Mendola, valedictorian for the coming and this school year, and Arib Rahman, the salutatorian. Congratulations to both of them. Anvi Taliti, Deb Shaw, Rachel Clerk, Sarah Smith, Quinn Giera, Erica Tu, Abdullah Khan, and Satvik Pavala all complete the top 10 of Sayreville seniors, and that's an awesome accomplishment. And now I need to coordinate better with Morgan because these are highlights that she read, but they are worth repeating. Congratulations to the Sayreville War Memorial High School and Sayreville Middle School unified student athletes who performed exceptionally during their Big Bombers unified basketball games. Thank you to Ms. Karkik, our unified sports coordinator, and all the coaches, paras, and advisors that contributed to the success of this amazing program and game. Congratulations to Sayreville War Memorial High School competition cheer team for placing second in the Varsity Game Day Mega Division and third in the Varsity All Music Mega Division during the New Jersey Cheer and Dance Coach Association Championships, and for winning first place in the Game Day Division and being crowned grand champions during the America Cheer International Championship in Florida. They also earned second place in the Varsity All Music Division. Awesome job. Congratulations to Andre Ellis, a second grader at the Wilson School, for winning the overall gold medal for his age group during the recent USA Gymnastics New Jersey state competition. Congratulations to Sayreville Middle School 8th grader Matthew Brown, who won first place and was crowned champion of the 175-pound division during the New Jersey State Youth Wrestling Championship. All fantastic accomplishments, and that concludes my highlights for today.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Dr. Labby, you can take us through the presentations, please?
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Bloom. We have a very special evening tonight. We are going to celebrate and recognize some extraordinary student athletes who not only performed magnificently this year on the court, on the indoor track and field, on the mat, but also perform incredibly in the classroom and outside of the classroom. We're talking about extraordinary and top-notch student athletes, but also incredible citizens that have represented the middle school and the high school impeccably, as well as the entire school district. And we are so very proud of them for being the incredible young people that they are, and more importantly, the role models that they serve as in both of those schools and throughout the community. So I'd like to begin this evening with an extraordinary young woman who I had the privilege of meeting several years ago. And I tell you, I've never met a person with a bigger spirit. The moment you meet this person, you can't help but see this enormous spirit that basically grabs you and lets you know that this person not only can do anything she wants, she will do anything she wants. And it's just been an absolute privilege to be able to watch her learn, develop, and grow throughout the years. And not only as an athlete and, of course, as a student, but also as a personality. If you've read Talk Soup this week, which I know no one actually does, but in the achievement section, or the outcome section, we noted in her that she actually starred in a podcast. And whenever this person decides that she's had enough with whatever endeavor she is into in her life, she certainly does have a career in podcasting based upon the incredible responses that she gave when she was interviewed by Move United as they discussed with her all of her incredible achievements. So I'm not going to steal Mrs. Pabone's thunder because Mrs. Pabone is going to introduce her for you, but I just want to say that Mia, I couldn't be more proud to witness all that you've done in the past 4 years here in Sayreville. Mrs. Pabone?
Is this thing working? Yes. On behalf of my fellow board members, we would like to present a certificate of excellence to acknowledge Mila Emery has been recognized for receiving the 2024 U.S. Paralympics Track and Field High School All-American Award. And not only that, she has a full scholarship to the University of Arizona, full ride. Congratulations, and we wish you everything, nothing but the best.
And she's going to play wheelchair basketball.
Her mom wants to get a picture.
Her mom wants to take pictures.
I can do that.
Just the important
My
people in
phone
this
takes
picture.
them right out.
Oh, no.
Mia Emery. Okay, and our next group of extraordinary student athletes are, of course, from the middle school. And they've been waiting here patiently. I believe, Mrs. Lynch, is this their third year? All right, totally embarrassing right now. This is their sixth. Is it consecutive, Mrs. Lynch? No, Miss 2020. Oh, darn it, what happened in 2020, guys? Albeit it's their sixth time. To help us celebrate and recognize them, Mrs. Lynch, can you join Mrs. Bloom and Mr. Callahan at the podium so that we can congratulate our New Jersey Cheer and Dance Coaches Association State Championship Sayreville Middle School Competition Cheer Team. And Mrs. Lynch, if you'd like to say a few words about the ladies before?
Yes, I learned that year one, that you're supposed to say a few words.
Well, it is year 6 now.
Yes, hence my little Post-it. Good evening. Thank you for inviting us to celebrate and recognize the 2025 NJCDCA State Championship All Music from the Middle School Division. We are truly fortunate to have the support system from our amazing team of parents, family, friends, administration, teachers, Board of Education, and our athletic director. With the team of coaches, we have the Sayreville Middle School Bomber competition teams have a bright future. Our theme this year was 20 years strong, because it is our 20th anniversary. And strong is what these athletes are. We're very proud of these athletes, aka our cacti, with their determination and perseverance. Thank you, Coach Jill, for volunteering your time and defining the meaning of once a bomber, always a bomber. Coach Handy and I would like to wish the 8th graders good luck as they close their Sayreville Middle School cheerleading chapter, and we look forward to what the future holds for you. Thank you very much.
Mrs. Lynch, did they give an award for a Coach of the Year in the New Jersey Cheer and Dance Coaches Association?
You have to be nominated, and I think that was last year, right? Yeah, Boyle got it twice, and then I got it, I believe, last year or the year before.
Okay, you need it again.
Oh, thank you. I'll put that on your to-do list. Thank you. Ready? Yeah. Okay, here we go. Ladies, ready? Okay, first up, Madison Sang. We do have some athletes that were unable to attend because they're on multiple teams. They had practice tonight. Haley Estorita. Practice, yeah. Amelia Bloom. Yay! Make sure you get a picture. Samantha Callahan. Yeah. Riley Gamoa. Olivia Ivan. Madison King. Alyssa Latchman. Sophia Lasada. Victoria Maritoli. Chloe Moultrie. Ava Parsons. Julia Policia. Brielle Perry. She had practice. Gabrielle Pesci, who's also at practice. Kaylee Provenza.
Leanne Russer. Julie Sekarak. Up there. Alana Saraganese.
Yay! I know Alana.
And I think that's it. It should be it. Yep. Picture time. Yes. I hope so. Oh. Yeah. Ready, Coach Joe? Thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Napolitano, can you please join Mr. Pasva at the podium so that we can celebrate our next group of extraordinary student athletes? I think Mr. Pasva is here.
I think he's trying to get them.
So our next group, we just heard from Ms. Lynch that the Sayreville Middle School cheer team, this was their 6th championship. The girls' indoor track and field team at the high school just won their 9th consecutive white division championship. And Mr. Pasva received Coach of the Year in the white division, probably for the 10th time. How many times?
Yeah, we'll go 10.
Many times. So we are here to recognize and celebrate our extraordinary girls indoor track and field team at the high school, as well as their Coach of the Year, Mr. Pasva. Mr. Pasva?
Thank you, Dr. Labby. So yes, as Dr. Labby said, our girls this year won their 9th straight. It's actually kind of fun. She's sneaking out now. Coach Handy from the middle school cheer team was on the first team that started the streak when she, I think, was a sophomore, junior in high school. So kind of all coming full circle tonight. For kids to keep this going this is 10 years in a row. They didn't have a championship during the COVID year, so 9 consecutive. Every year for these kids, it ramps up the pressure a little bit more because nobody wants to be the one who breaks a decade-long streak. So it's amazing to see these kids rise to the occasion every year, outperform the year before. I believe this year the girls won by 60 points over the next closest team. So it was, once again, a dominating performance where every single aspect of the team was scoring and contributing to the win. Also, I have to thank my incredible coaching staff, because you can't have this kind of continued success without the continuity of that staff. They've been with me since day one, and they helped us get this ball rolling a decade ago. So thank you to Coach Logan, Coach Drabick, and to Coach Garcia, who could not be here this evening. We also had a number of girls get all conference and all division, so as we call them up, I'll call them out. We didn't get them till late last week, so we couldn't get it sent around, but I'll call them out as we go as well. Mo Akinafram, who was all white division in shot put. Loicy Anning, who was all white division in the 4x4. Anna Grzynska. Zayla Khan, who was all white division and all conference in shot, including county champion. And she advanced all the way to the state meet of champions as well.
Yeah.
Julia Kuklich. Angelia Lepre, who was all division in the 3200. Lucy Logan. Molly Logan, who was all white division in the 1600. Analia Marrero. Destiny Mullen, all division in shot put. Ariana Paul. Jada Roque, all division in the 4x4. Sarah Smith, all division in the 800. Layla Stevenson, all division and all conference in the 400. Generally then, all division in the 4x4. And Taylor Winfrey. Yeah. Let's get the coaches up here too. Coach Logan, Garcia's not here tonight, and Drabick. Where'd Drabick go? Oh, there she is. Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks.
We heard you over here.
All right, everybody say upward and onward. Molly, where's Molly? How did you do in the half marathon? What was your score? What was your time? Okay, and we have, again, we're going to finish with an incredibly extraordinary team and coach. But let me set the stage a little bit for this. While I'm doing this, if Mr. Fernandez could go up to the podium and join Coach Wojcik, I greatly appreciate that. So I'm going to bring everybody back to the year 2022 and 23. This team had a pretty tough year, right? I think they went 6-21. Yep. And, you know, if you know anything about Coach Wojcik, you know that that lit a fire inside of him. And I've had the privilege of knowing Coach Wojcik since I've gotten here in Sayreville, and I couldn't admire and revere a person more than I do you. And that was demonstrated because the next year they improved to 15-12, which was a remarkable improvement. And then, of course, it brings us to this year when they were in an incredible 23-5. And 11-1 in the, who was the one? You want to talk about it? Yeah. In the white division.
I don't think we showed up that day.
With 3 all-division players and the white division coach of the year.
2 all-conference players.
And 2 all-conference players.
I was going to say.
So I couldn't be prouder than to acknowledge the amazing 2024-2025 Sayreville War Memorial High School GMC White Division Championship boys basketball team.
Well, that was everything I was going to say. But first of all, thank you for having us here today, Board of Ed and administration. Thank you. I also want to thank the fans. I mean, it's been a long time since the bomb shelter was packed like that. And I always tell my players, a loud gym is a winning gym. All right, and that's what we want. So we had a nice loud gym majority of the season. So it's a lot of hard work. Like you said, 3 years ago, they're epitome of a hard work. 3 years ago, 6 wins. I said to the coaching staff, this is going to be a total rebuild. We started 2 freshmen who now went on and scored 1,000 points each as juniors. So I'm just trying to, some different individual accolades for them. But so we kind of, it was kind of a rebuild completely, 6, 15-23, winning the division championship again. It's been some time, about 7 years now since we won the division title. So, you know, I want to thank the fans. Jen, A-Day, amazing job. And we forgot to say, we had the inaugural battle at the bomb shelter holiday tournament. We were champions in our own tournament with a game winner by Chidi. And then, so 3 all-division players, which we were the only team in the division to have 3. That was Keithan Schuler, Chidi Chikura, and Sam Jones. We had 2 all-conference players, us and Colonia, who ended up winning the conference. We're the only teams to have 2. That was Sam Jones and Chidi Chikura. And like I said, we have 2,000-point scorers this season as juniors, which is unheard of, really. I'm not sure. Maybe Steve could help me out if we had any 1,000-point scorers as juniors. But they're going for the record, and then it's his record, one of them for the boys. And then for the girls, 16:08. Sam and Chidi both have a chance to get that record. So it's a pretty cool thing that we have coming up, and I'm looking forward to working with them and trying to win a state championship, county and state. All right, and then for our players, ready? Noah Dubois. Yeah, that's you. Joe Santa Maria. Keithan Schuler. Christian Torres. Saba Takamadalzi. Okay. Devin Aldridge. Chidi Chakula. Adrian Ciesla. Sam Jones. Zion Jones. Bryce White. Tyler Yan. Joseph Lewis. Andrew Provenza, and Julian Hall. And also, only one assistant coach can come today, and I just want to say I want to commend them, a tremendous job this season. Our coaching staff, they prepared the team each day. They did a great job game planning. I think that was one of the bonuses that we had this year. Our game plans were really good. And our one assistant that's here today is our JV coach as well, Anthony Abdel Sayed. Yeah, I'll take care of it. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Mrs. Bloom, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Labby.
Or presentations, I should say.
Presentation. You haven't made your report yet.
Wait till I do.
Still have that to look forward to.
We have a retirement.
Oh, God help us. Okay, moving on to committees. Ms. Pabon, Finance and Infrastructure, please.
Hello. Everything with the referendum is going very well. We have HVAC at the high school and Truman. It's going well. Everything is on time. We have windows at Sellover, Arleth, and middle school. The bathrooms are getting done at, how do you say that? I always call it Sellover. Slover? Sellover. All righty, I'm going to go with your. Also, too, at the roofing at Arleth, Wilson, UES Middle School, and the high school. The Safeway at Arleth is complete. UES is complete. The Sayreville War Memorial High School roof is complete, and the panels are finished. The metal work is complete, and that's the edge around the building. The fourth bid was the electrical. We were waiting on that, so that's moving along. And we do have to do some changes because of Jersey Central Power and Light, their requirements, so that's coming along good. Jimmy is a very good project manager, so everything is progressing. And that's pretty much it. Everything's going good in the world of finance.
Thank you, Ms. Pabon. Okay, and now Mr. Callahan, Personnel.
Sure. The Personnel Committee met earlier this evening. We discussed several key topics. The committee reviewed the current vacancies across the district and emphasized the urgency of filling the critical roles. We talked about staffing projections for next year for the 2025 to 2026 school year. We analyzed them with a focus on the anticipated retirements and resignations that will be coming up soon. We also talked about the district will be participating in job fairs on March 19th and April 9th to attract qualified candidates. And lastly, planning is underway for the district-hosted career fair with dates of maybe April 26th or May 3rd as potential dates. And that concluded the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Callahan. Okay, moving on to Middlesex County School Boards Association. Once again, it is worth repeating that the Unsung Heroes Banquet will be held on March 26th at Old Bridge High School. And our two students are Nicholas Bernardi, who is in 11th grade, and Sarah Torino, who is in 12th grade. And it's always my pleasure to help officiate at that banquet. I also wanted to mention that I, again, had the privilege of giving workshops at the Teen Arts Festival at Middlesex County College last week, earlier this week. It all runs together. I think it was last week. But actually had students from our own high school who took my workshops. The kids enjoyed it, and it was a nice day. Okay. We will now open for public participation on agenda items only. Agenda items only at this point. I will let you know if you do.
Dr. Labby has instilled in me that I do not cross Lucy Bloom. So, Anthony Sposato, Washington Road. I wanted to comment on the agenda minutes from last session. You had a very wonderful conversation about curriculum, and I just wanted to applaud Mrs. Grossman as a parent in the community and the work that the folks who write our curriculum are doing. It is married to someone who does write curriculum. It is really refreshing to know that our teachers and folks that write curriculum can come to the table and leave all of themselves at the door and just focus on the work. It is a really wonderful opportunity for our teachers to be able to just focus on curriculum and content areas and not bring any of their own personal thoughts or feelings into the curriculum. I also wanted to thank Mrs. Grossman for making sure that that information is posted publicly online for all of us as parents to be able to see and review. It is incredibly transparent, and it is important that parents in our district know that the work you do is profound and appreciated and respected. I had a U.S. history teacher named Matt Roberts in high school. I will betray my age, as Mrs. Bloom is sometimes wont to do. In 2000, in Bush versus Gore, I had a U.S. history teacher that was a lawyer that was teaching now. I had no idea what he ever thought or believed, and it was wonderful. It was incredible to be able to see the Bush versus Gore case play out in real time and compare that to historical precedences where those things had happened. So the impact of a good teacher teaching good curriculum well does not go out of style, and so I just wanted to make sure that in commenting on agenda items only, I kept my comments to that and just wanted to express my appreciation. So thank you again for the work that you do.
Thank you very much. Okay. Closing public, seeing no one else. Okay. And now, Dr. Labby, Superintendent.
Okay, if I can bring your attention to finance and infrastructure. Let's begin with number 14, big one, most important one of the evening, which you can find on pages 3 and 4. We're asking you to approve the proposed tentative 2025-2026 fiscal year school district budget. The general fund budget of $147,742,453, including a tax levy of $76,549. 76 million, excuse me, I'm a little tired.
Yeah,
76 million.
Very excited when you said that.
A lot of people were jumping for joy as they're watching. $76,549,332. Number 15, which you can find on page 4, we're also asking you to approve the 2025-2026 preschool expansion aid, which is in the amount of $11,186,602. Numbers 20 and 21, which you can find on page 6, we're asking you to approve the purchase of cabling professional service from Aspire Technology Partners in the total amount of $55,213, and technology hardware items for securing intermediate distribution framework closets from the CDW Government Incorporated in the amount of $57,735. Board of Education members, if you don't recall, this is one of our goals, our district goals, that we secure these closets where we keep all of our technology infrastructure. So that's one of the things that Mr. Glock-Malloy, Dr. Rowanowitz, and their staff have been working on to secure these, what do we call them, IED rules, rooms, what are they?
IDF and MDF.
IDF and MDF rooms. And that's where, obviously, we keep all of our technology infrastructure. Number 24, which you can find on page 6, we're asking you to approve a contract with Generation Services for the installation of 2 new light poles in the parking lot of the high school in the amount of $36,285. If you don't recall, last year one of those light poles was knocked down by a driver who was driving erratically, and actually we're hoping to get restitution on that pole as well. Numbers 25 and 26, as well as number 40, which you can find on pages 6 and 7 and the addendum. We're asking to approve some kitchen equipment for the Woodrow Wilson Elementary School in the amount of $22,634.98. We're also asking you to approve the electrical work and materials related to the walk-in cooler at the Truman School, and that's in the amount of $3,297.70. And finally, we're asking you to approve the completion of the installation of a walk-in cooler refrigerator at the Truman School in the amount of $1,340. And all of that is going to be paid for out of the food services account. And finally, to wrap things up, numbers 38 and 39, which you can find on the addendum, we're asking you to approve amendments to previously approved motions for professional services with our architect, the Spiesel Architectural Group, where we're going to ask you to, we're paying that group up to $4,500 in professional services for permit drawings for our new esports lab at the high school, which hopefully we'll get to work on by spring break, if all goes well, and up to $115,300 for professional services related to the solar canopy completion at the high school, and that will be paid for through the energy savings improvement program that we have going on. As you know, the financer for that is refusing to do work, so we're going to finish that work ourselves. We needed the extra amount so that the designs for the completion of those canopies can be accurate and fit. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
I would just say that the reason for the addition at this time is we're a little unsure on how everything will work together. So this will enable us to find and go out to bid.
Okay. Any questions on those items or anything else on finance and infrastructure?
Yeah, regarding bullet points 1 through 4, I was looking for those items in the BOE SharePoint site. I couldn't find them.
They should be on there, but hold on, let me check. You're talking about the financials, correct?
Right.
I don't see them posted, and I'm not sure why. No, I don't see them posted.
We'll get those posted right.
Yeah, we'll post them. I can post them right now.
Okay. All right.
And
Any
Dr.
more questions?
Can I just comment on one thing, because I think it's important that the public be aware of it. With us approving tentatively budget tonight, how hard Aaron has worked, that the tax levy increase by residents will be less than 2%. And I think it's important the public knows that. Although our budget goes up, the entire burden is not being put on the public.
That's correct. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing or hearing none, I'm going to move on to student achievement. Number 1, on page 13, we're asking you to approve some long-term suspensions, student long-term suspensions. I believe that was the only item on student achievement, so unless anybody has any questions about that, I'm going to move over to governance. Okay. On governance, number 2, which you can find on page 15, we're asking to approve several new revised policies and regulations, this time for a second reading. You approved them for a first reading during the last meeting, so now we're asking you to approve them for a second reading and adoption. Any questions on governance?
I do have a couple questions.
Okay.
Just in the interest of clarity, before we vote, with regard to removing the Board of Education from the appeals levels, I believe it was P5710. I believe strongly that we should leave the Board of Education as a level of appeals regarding any grievance. I don't think that barring the public from access to the board on an appeals level should be something that we should ever do, because we are elected by the taxpayers of Sayreville. So to say that there really is any kind of grievance where we would say to them, you don't have access to us. You know, once you go through the levels of appeal, that we are not part of that appeals level process, I'm not going to be in favor of that. And if I'm understanding it wrong, but as far as I understand it, it's just simply removing the Board of Education from the appeals process. I'm not in favor of that, again, just so that we can remain accessible to people who have a grievance that has gone through 3 levels and they're not satisfied with the result. Because in the same way, we would never hinder their right to appeal to the New Jersey Department of Education. We're not able to do that, but just hypothetically, we never would. We would never hinder that right that they have to access that higher level of appeal. So I understand that some of the examples that were given when I asked this question at the last meeting were things that don't typically you know, get passed to the board, or they don't typically, it's not typically situations where a parent would bring it to the Board of Education, but I don't think that hypothetical scenarios are enough to say, let's go ahead and remove the Board of Education.
Okay, your comment is noted, and I think I responded to your question about that during the last meeting, so I'm going to save everybody the time and not repeat my reason for that. But your comment is noted.
Thank you. And then with regard to the student supervision after school dismissal, so I wanted to ask, because looking at the, you know, Every Student Succeeds Act, which gives parents, you know, that act specifies that if a child who lives within 2 miles of the school, if the parent does not want them to be walking home from school, that Every Student Succeed Act gives them the ability to submit a form and say, I don't want my child walking home, I'll designate someone to pick them up and whatnot. But it's not something that removes the authority of the parent to say, you know, my child is a walker. So I wanted to just ask, in these scenarios where these students who are not picked up on time, they're not picked up by the time aftercare ends, who are these students? Are these, because if they were bus students, they would have taken the bus home from school. If they're in aftercare, the parents arranged for aftercare. If they're not the bus students and they're not the aftercare students, then these are students that, according to federal law and according to our own policy, they're walkers, unless and then parents using common sense, they're not going to, you know, I'm assuming parents are not going to be comfortable with a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, you know, walking home, but the parent does have that ability to say, here's a form, I don't want you releasing my student, I'll pick them up, but it doesn't work the other way around where we say, you don't have the right to say that your child can walk home. And, you know, personally, I might be in disagreement with a certain age, but that's not how we make the decision. It's based upon the federal law and it's based upon our own policy. So I just wanted to ask some scenarios like, who are these walkers that we're keeping at the school or we're transporting them to the police department if they're not picked up on time?
And I answered that question during the last meeting as well, if you don't recall. So we do have times when students in grades preschool through 2nd grade, and even 3rd grade, but most importantly, preschool through 2nd grade, are on a bus, and there is no adult there to take them off the bus. Meaning that this child will have to disembark from the bus and walk to their home. And we will not allow that. That is a huge liability. If anything happened to that child, I personally couldn't live with myself. So the bus drivers, in accordance with our policy, take those children back to their respective school. And at those schools, if the parent does not pick them up by a certain time, we have a relationship with Leading Edge, our aftercare provider. They will take them in until the end of Leading Edge, which is 6:30. If the parent still has not come to pick up their child, which, believe it or not, happens more frequently than you can imagine, we then ask the Sayreville Police Department to take them into their custody at the police department so that their parents can pick them up there. There are other cases. There are other cases when students are, in fact, walkers. And parents are coming to pick them up. Now, they may not necessarily live in a walkable distance from the school. It could just be that parents elect for them not to take the bus, that they are going to be picked up from school. However, the parent doesn't show. We call the parent, have no response from the parent, which again happens more frequently than you can imagine. In that particular case, too, after a certain amount of time, the child is taken to Leading Edge, who again, because of our relationship with them, care for the child until 6:30, which is the end of their program, and then if the parent still does not show up, we ask the Sayreville police to take them into their custody, where they can be supervised until the parent picks them up.
Okay.
So those are the two primary reasons why that would happen. With regard to what you're saying, yes, the federal policy does say that parents have the right to opt out of us just letting their kids go. But as, again, a responsible educator, I'm not going to allow a preschooler to just leave the school and walk home. It just wouldn't be responsible. Same thing with a kindergartner, a first grader, a second grader, and even a third grader. To allow them just to walk home, some of our elementary schools, to me, would not be responsible. And that's why we are, in fact, asking you to revise this policy so that it reflects that what we've been doing for the past 10 years is making sure that we do not release any of the children in those grade levels unless there is an adult there to take them back to their residence. So if they're, in fact, a walker and they live less than 2 miles away, we are expecting an adult to take them from the school and take them home. And we're not going to release them on their own. Heaven forbid they're walking home and they get hit by a car. Just, we can't, we're not going to allow that. And if you don't agree with that, then obviously as a Board of Education member, you have the right to vote no to that. But that's what we're asking you to approve. We did have a situation recently, but because it was not in our policy, that what we've been doing, you know, we weren't able to stop it, and we disagreed with it. So now it is going to be in our policy. And it's the same, it reflects the same thing as when a child gets off a bus. Many times, children actually walk a shorter distance from their bus stop to their home. But we still don't allow a kindergartner to get off a bus alone and walk to their home. Why would we allow a kindergartner to walk from the school to their home? To me, it doesn't make sense. So we wanted to make sure that the policy for students that are bused is congruent with the policy for students that walk home.
Right. I think that to that point, that we would need to make those specificity, that specificity level in our policy then to talk about that, because currently, and that's what my point was, is that when we're talking about this subject, and I understand that it mainly refers to students on the bus, that there's nobody there to take them off the bus, but we do need to have that explicitly written in our code of policy, you know, with regard to that, because currently, for us to say that we're not going to allow a child to walk home, it violates our own policy of what we allow parents to have the right. And I have to say that personally, I'm not in agreement with a small child walking home. But what I'm trying to remove my personal opinion about that and just look at policy and law. And if that is that's our position, then we really need to make that change to specify that with regard to walkers then. Or bus them, or bus children from pre-K, you know, through third grade, through fourth grade, just have that be a policy where they're bused to and from school and remove, you know, the issue altogether.
And I respectfully disagree with your opinion, and I'll leave it up to, you know, the board members to make their own decision with regard to the language. I think the policy is written well. I think the policy is pretty clear. And again, I think the policy mirrors our policy with regard to busing students.
I want to make a question. So basically, our policy is not really differentiating between somebody who's walking and didn't get picked up, gotten forgotten about, or somebody who's on the bus and got forgotten about and then got brought back to school, which I think is fair, because if we have too many specifics, it kind of makes a blanket policy would be better than having if this happens, if this happens, if this happens, if this happens. I also would like to know for habitual parents who, you know, don't come and get their kid on a regular basis, what are we doing about that?
There's nothing we can do. We call the Department of Child Protection and Permanency and leave it up to them.
That's something that we can do?
Yeah, to us, that's considered negligence.
Yeah, because I would think it's got to be, you know, I'm not saying that I've never forgotten my child ever, but I'm not saying that it can't happen, but I would think that there has to be some kind of issues going on.
And I mentioned this at the last meeting, it's not only about forgetting, you know, I would say most of the parents, when, you know, something happens like that, it is an accident, and they do get over to the school as fast as they can. But there are a small percentage of parents that basically are repeat offenders that feel like it's our jobs to watch their kids until they're ready to come pick them up, which is quite unfair to our staff, particularly our administrators, who have a responsibility to make sure that they get home safely.
And Dr. Lepp, correct me if I'm wrong, because then I've been doing this wrong with kids for, well, a long time now. You can put, when you register, grandparents down, aunts, uncles, emergency contacts, so that if I can't get home from work and you can't reach me and I say, Grandpa's going to come and pick up my child, you look at the list and you go, oh, Grandpa's an approved.
We even allow adult brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Sometimes people designate neighbors. And you know what? I have to give credit to our teachers and our bus drivers who do a phenomenal job of vetting the people that they're releasing kids to. They know the faces. And I'll tell you something that happened just recently. A couple of months ago, one of our extraordinary bus drivers, there was a person waiting for one of our children at a bus stop. And the child was like, I don't know that person. And the bus driver was like, I don't recognize that person either. I'm not. And this person was demanding that the child get off the bus and into their care. And our bus driver promptly closed the door and called the police. And that's what we're afraid of. So to just release a child that young, expecting that someone's there to take care of them, when in fact someone could be there to abduct them, is just something that, again, I'm never going to take that risk. You know, I love all these children like they're my own, but I treat them like they're somebody else's. And I've always lived by that rule, and I would never make that decision for another parent.
To clarify, Dr. Labby, this is meant for children pre-K to 3?
Pre-K to 3.
Okay. Paragraph 3 indicates pre-K to 4, so I think that's a typo.
I thought we addressed that,
Oh, you
Mr.
did?
Glockman.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fixed on the version that's on the internet. In one version said pre-K 2-4, and one version said pre-K through 3, essentially saying the same thing, just different ways. So one paragraph said it through 3. One
I think
said
Mrs. Chutkowski brought that up during the last meeting. We corrected it.
It's a line now in both paragraphs.
Okay.
But thank you. Any other questions on policies? Any other policies?
Regarding, just in general, comment for ease of reference in these policies, if we can put page numbers, that would be great. Looking at Regulation 5600, it's a lengthy document and it didn't have page numbers. It was just difficult to go through it and reference it, so I would recommend that we do that.
It should say page something of something.
This one doesn't. 5710 did have it, 8601 did, 5600 didn't.
And that's the difference between the templates that we take for new
So we have to make sure that
versus
we're using.
the discipline is just pulled from our existing
All
file.
right, so we have to make sure that we're using that. So your question?
Yeah, so my question is, on page 27, I just numbered it myself, but it talks about sexual assault, and then it mentions, it defines sexual assault as if sexual contact occurs with a victim less than 13 years old and an offender at least 4 years older than the victim, this should be considered sexual assault. So based on that logic and rationale, I would think grades K to 3 would be out of scope. Yet we see, you know, some consequence framework listed there. Does that make sense?
Well, and I believe that language comes right from the statute.
That definition comes from the statute and comes from our student safety data system. So that's copied and pasted directly from the Department of Education and the associated laws there. That's how they define it.
Right, no, and I totally get that, and
But
that makes sense.
to
but-
answer your
yeah.
question, heaven forbid we ever had anything happen like that at the lower grades. If the act itself were to be deemed by the administration as well as the police department as, in fact, sexual assault, that's what it would be.
Okay. Thank you for that, Dr. Labby. On page 38, it talks about, I just wanted to make this comment. It mentions a consequence framework for, let me see, where is it, page 38? Students owing money for an obligation on their account may be prevented from participating in school activities such as homecoming, prom, senior trip, or what have you. So just asking if this similar consequence framework is listed in other policies where we talked about before, like for food services, where people are not paying their balances and stuff like that.
It's interesting you asked that question because unfortunately the answer is no. Because with food services, we have to follow what's called what Bill of Rights is it called?
I'm so sorry, I don't recall offhand.
It's
I can
the
look it up, though.
Food and Nutrition Bill of Rights or something to that effect, where our hands are basically tied. That is the only thing that we can't, the only thing we can do if a child is in food arrears is to, you might know that when we do our annual enrollment and we release schedules, we don't release schedules. And believe it or not, we collect about $40,000 when we do that. But we are limited from doing anything else to collect food money owed. And I think we talked about this at our last meeting, that we still give those kids lunches, the same lunches that the other kids get. We still beg and plead with their parents to apply for free and reduced lunch, and sometimes to no avail. But yes, when it comes to fines, particularly to bring mention, destruction of Chromebooks. We have kids that are on their third or fourth Chromebook, and their parents are refusing to pay for their Chromebooks. Yet we still have to give them a Chromebook because they need a Chromebook. But in the end, what we can do is we can not permit them to get their diploma, not permit them to get their school records. And I've actually had confrontations with various state agencies over this. And again, it's supported in regulation as well as in our policy that you need to pay your fine in order to receive that. It does not work that way for owed money in food services, though.
Last one I have is on pages 39 to 40, where it talks about failure to sign into school or the school bus. So I see that for the lower grades, it has a consequence framework as being a warning.
Yes.
However, for the older grades, it has administrative conference off the bat and 2 days of administrative conference for high schoolers. So my question is, why wouldn't we apply a warning across the board? If it's, I mean, a kid having a bad day can forget, right? So why would we penalize them for the first offense?
It's not that they're refusing to sign in. It's not that they forgot their badge, okay? It's the fact that they're refusing to give their name.
Okay.
Because all of our bus drivers, if you were to give them their name, they can go ahead and make sure that we punch you in there. And the purpose behind that is student security. So we have had several occasions since I've been here when people, not even from Sayreville, have got on our buses. And that is a danger. That is a huge security risk. So what we require is that the kids have their badges. And last year, the Board of Education approved that new software system so that now all of our buses have the tablets so the students can swipe onto the bus. Now, that's good for a couple of reasons. Number one, it allows parents immediately to see that their child is on the bus. So at the younger grades, it's huge. It's very important. However, the problem we're having at the younger grades is the kids are forgetting their IDs, and sometimes they have a tough time communicating their names and so forth. So it's a little bit difficult for the bus driver. So that's why we want a conference with the parents and let them know how important it is, not only for us, but for them, that they know that their child got on the bus when they're coming to school as well as when they're coming home. And parents can track the bus the whole time. But it's important. I mean, as a parent, I didn't have that luxury when my kids were growing up. So now parents have the luxury of knowing that their kids safely got on the bus and then their child safely got off the bus and so forth. So we're trying to get the younger kids into the habit of taking their IDs, and it's going to take some time with that, so we're being very patient. The older kids have had IDs for a very long time, and the cases in which we're imposing consequences, it's not because the child's not wearing their ID, it's because the child's refusing to give their name so that we can check them on the bus.
Got it.
The failure to wear ID is actually right above that, and it does start with the warnings, administrative conferences. And if a student did forget their ID either into school or into a bus, they can still sign in using their ID number or their name. So this is truly I'm not going to tell you who I am.
And many times they don't want to tell the bus driver who they are because they know they're not supposed to be on that bus. They want to maybe they want to go to a friend's house after school and they want to take the bus. We just can't allow that. I can't tell you how many times that goes on, and parents don't even know where the child is. But moreover, our buses are pretty packed. We have situations where if you're on the wrong bus, there's a potential that a child that's supposed to be on that bus doesn't have a seat.
Right. No, okay, so that makes sense. So thank you for clarifying that, because I think that was the confusion. So my recommendation would be, instead of failure, refusal, to clarify that aspect, because I think the way it reads as the child just failed to do it. So up here we have failure to wear the display. So I just want to make sure to create that distinction, refusal.
You can make that, you can make that adjustment.
Yeah.
All right, we'll make that adjustment before we post it. Okay. So we'll replace failure with refusal.
Perfect. Okay, and then the last thing, I'm sorry, I know I said two last things. Sorry about that, it's my compliance hat. But for ease of reference, I would also say page 6, it discusses for pre-K students using the pyramid model.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible to incorporate an example of the pyramid model instead of having the parent to have to look it up separately? Because it doesn't list what the actual
Maybe what we can do is provide a link, and that would be Mrs. Burns' expertise. Maybe we can incorporate, if you can give Mr. Glock-Malloy a link, so that the parent doesn't have to look it up, but they can just click on the link.
Yeah, that would be better, yeah. And then in the chart, if we can just bold the categories and just making it, drawing your eyes to when a new category starts, possible.
That might be a little bit difficult to do with the software system that we have.
Okay.
I don't know, Mr. Glock-Malloy, if that's something we can do.
Be on my list of things to try tomorrow.
If there's anyone that can figure out how to do it, Mrs. Maldonado, it's Mr. Glock-Malloy.
Happy to help, okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, appreciate it.
Any other questions on governance? All right, so let's move on to personnel. And as I promised you, we do have one of those bittersweet moments. And this is a very special person, so very, very happy for this person, but very sad for the Eisenhower School in our district. We're asking you to graciously accept the retirement of Susan Henry, an elementary school teacher at the Eisenhower School. Susan Henry, known to everyone as Sue, is an integral part of the Eisenhower teaching staff. Mrs. Henry has made outstanding contributions in the classroom and has always put her students first. Mrs. Henry started in the district as a long-term substitute at the Samsel Upper Elementary School and the Eisenhower School, before being hired as a permanent staff member at the Eisenhower School by Mr. Skoronsky, a blast from the past there, in 2006. Since that time, Ms. Henry has embodied a combination of dedication and passion to her profession and to the students she educates every day so impeccably. Her dedication extends beyond the school day, though. Sue has actively participated as a liaison to the Eisenhower PTO for many, many years. Mrs. Henry has earned her retirement and deserves to enjoy every minute of it. She will be greatly missed by the faculty, staff, and students at the Eisenhower School. So on behalf of the entire Eisenhower School, as well as the Sayreville Public School District, we thank and commend Mrs. Henry for her service and wish her all the best in her retirement. And she truly is an extraordinary teacher that we are going to greatly miss.
You know what? I may even add a line.
Go ahead.
To the retirements that I joke to you about. My two stepsons had Miss Henry in Eisenhower, and all I can say is she will be missed. She was a fantastic teacher. She did so good by both of them, and they both really had a great experience with her.
And you know what? That's what speaks the loudest is the review that our staff get from our customers, our students. So.
And it was my
daughter's
favorite teacher in Eisenhower.
That's amazing. Thank you, Mrs. Hernandez. That's fantastic. And I hope Mrs. Henry's watching this so she hears that too. Excellent. All right, so then I'll move on. Number 8 and 25, which you can find on page 18 in the addendum. As we always do, we're asking you to approve new staff. This time it's only non-certificated staff for this school year. And we're also at number 19, which you can find on pages 21 and 24. We're asking you to appoint staff members to present workshops during the June 10th Staff Development Day that Ms. Bird is working very hard on coordinating, although Mrs. Bloom and I did not make the cut this time. And number 26, we're asking you to approve the transfer of non-certificated staff for this school year as well, and that's on the addendum. Any questions on those items or any of the other items that are on personnel?
Dr. Labby, yes, I have a question regarding on page 9, bullet point 31G, where it talks about selling, I guess, excessive property.
Page 39?
Page 9, number
page 9.
31G.
Oh, this is finance.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Oh,
Circling
okay.
back.
Before we go back to finance.
Okay.
Any other any questions on personnel? No? Okay, so let's go back to finance. You were there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's, go ahead, you get this.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so my question is, if not sold, it says it would be disposed of. Is it disposed, meaning throwing out, or would you consider like donating them to like a soup kitchen, senior center, or something like that?
I mean, we certainly would consider donating them, but typically the food services items do sell when we list them.
Yeah, and we just have to declare them obsolete if they don't sell. So we can either dispose them or we can donate them.
Okay. And then on page 12, bullet point C, I just had a quick question because it says project before at Wilson. I thought it was only at Cheesequake and Sealover.
Oh, I think I got this, Ms. Burns. We do have 2 classes at Wilson.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Burns was ready, though. I'm sorry, Mrs. Burns. Any other questions? Okay, Mrs. Bloom, that concludes my report.
Oh, your microphone.
Microphone, Mrs. Bloom.
So moved.
We need a motion
Second.
to accept the
That was
superintendent's
Mr.
report.
Callahan
Mrs. Babone.
and Mrs. Pabon. Okay. Mr. Callahan.
Yes.
Mrs. Chudkowski.
No on policy 5710, removing the Board of Education, and yes to all else.
Mr. Fernandez.
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez.
No on policy 5710, Bell's yes.
Mrs. Maldonado.
No to policy 5710, yes to the rest.
Mrs. Napolitano.
Yes.
Mrs. Pabon.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom.
Yes. Okay. We need now to open to public for anything at all. Please state your name and your address for the record.
My name is Steve McQuinski. I'm a 1974 graduate at Sayreville High School. I just wanted to say thank you to the board members for the work that you do for the students of this district. I'm a grateful student from Sayreville High School. I'm so grateful with what the teachers did for me, the coaching staff, the Board of Ed members, the council. It was so refreshing it brought back memories. So we had some pretty special moments in school where we were honored like you did for these teams, and those athletes certainly appreciate it. From the basketball team, I wanted to give a special shout out. John, I've known since he was born. I played with his dad. That was his team. Me and John Sr. were teammates together. And to see him accomplish what he did with this team, I was at almost every game. I even told Dr. Labby at a previous meeting how special they could be, which they ended up being. And the future is bright for John and his team. I've seen him in the summer. I've seen how hard they work. I've seen them develop. I was there when you mentioned the team 3 years ago with a not-so-successful record, but they worked hard. And it's certainly great to see, especially for John. So I just wanted to say that. My experience, I played here. I played in college. I was a substitute teacher and a coach in 6 different districts in Middlesex County. I'm in management right now. I've seen every possible, I'm old. I've seen every possible conflict resolution that you can ever imagine in the years I've been there and been involved in, whether it's coaching and in the work field. And I just want to encourage this board. That team, that basketball team, they were successful because they played together as a team. And I would critique John. I would talk to John during the season. I told him I could, as a coach, opposing coach, I can stop one of your players, but I can't stop all three of those guys. And certainly they fed off each other, and they had additional players that didn't get recognized but were very good. So I would like to encourage the board to do the same when you're dealing with these decisions that you have to make. It's not an easy position. It's not easy to make all these decisions. Parents sometimes don't show up when they're supposed to. It's hard, and teaching is hard. So I want to encourage you guys to work together. I used to tell my players, I says, you don't have to like each other. You don't have to hang out with each other after practice. You don't have to hug each other. But once you step in between the lines, whatever venue it is, whether it's basketball, baseball, soccer, or in the confines.
Sir, I'm sorry, your time is up, but I also need to get, you didn't say your address, so your residence?
Oh, I live in Woodbridge, but my mom lives here, so so I just wanted to say that, work together. You know, I heard some things. Guys, work it out together. Work your differences out for the better of the children of Sayreville. So thank you very much.
We appreciate
Thank you.
it, sir.
Anybody else from public?
Hi, Lisa Reback. I live on Charles Street in South Amboy, but that is Sayreville. We pay our taxes there, and happy to be back. Honestly, it's been a while. A lot of new faces on the board, and just wanted to come and say hi. I know that there's been a lot of discussion. I'm just going to jump right into it about policy 5756. So I urge you to just put this to bed already. It's been bounced around since August, since the candidates were announced for the Board of Ed. It's been jumped around. It is a policy. It is not the law. You are still required to follow the law, as far as I understand. All you're doing by removing the policy is removing the guidance for the staff to not out students who need to be protected. So I'm honestly, I can't believe it came up again in the last meeting. I sat and watched that, and I urge you, just vote on it already. Take it away, don't take it away. I'd love to see what you're going to do if you take it away, because you still have to follow the law, first of all. So that was what I came up here to talk about. Also, no offense to the gentleman who just spoke, but I'm trying to understand why so many out-of-town speakers are allowed at these meetings. This is our town. This is our business. These are our children. If they are staff that work in the district, that's fine. I'm struggling to understand why somebody who doesn't live in this town, doesn't have children in this town, is allowed to come up here and tell you how to do your jobs. That's the second part. Another part is Mrs. Henry. Unfortunately, the administrator my child had in second grade didn't put them in Mrs. Henry's class, but that's okay because we loved our second grade teacher anyway. Not personal. No. That was your fault. No, Dr. Aguiles. Loved Mr. Skoronsky as well, even though he didn't put my kid in Mrs. Henry's second grade class either. Wanted to say thank you for transporting my senior to the Teen Arts Festival. They did not say anything about taking your class, so I have no idea if they took your class. And finally, staff development. Would love to work something out where Old Bridge teachers get to come to Sayreville staff development, just saying. So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else from public?
Anthony Marrow from Edison. I'm here to speak on 5756. And yes, I'm not from Sayreville, but the children from Sayreville, as any town in this state, will impact all of us. So why am I here, even though I'm from out of town? Because Sayreville students will affect us everywhere, just as students from Edison might affect Sayreville, and so on. Policy 5756 is destructive. It's been denounced here and elsewhere for a long time. Yet Sayreville hasn't done anything about it. Quite frankly, you can't thumb your nose in God's face and expect him to ignore it. Why do I bring up God in this? Because he is the central figure. It's not us. Yes, you make the final decision, you make decisions, but he gets the final word as to what happens because of your decision. To take an example from Scripture, there's a guy named Pharaoh. Moses went to tell him, "Let my people go." Pharaoh thumbed his nose in Moses' face. I think we know what happened to Pharaoh. He in Egypt suffered greatly. I have nothing but the best intentions for the Sayreville Board of Ed. I'm not here to denounce anyone or anyone here on this board. I hope you guys do very well at everything you do. But you can't thumb your nose in God's face. We have to adhere to the words of the Lord Jesus Christ. Have you not read that he created them from the beginning, made them male and female? And for this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh, so they're no longer two but one. In other words, two genders only. This is not Baskin Robbins where you go in and choose a flavor. It's one or the other. Perhaps you've heard of the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I wonder how many parents here would like to be kept in the dark, which is what 5756 does. Your son or daughter wants to change gender, but you're not going to tell them because 5756 says keep you in the dark. Would you like that? Your son or daughter says, I'm going to change gender to some member of the Sayreville School Board, and you're not told. I assume you wouldn't like that. If you wouldn't like that, why do you do that to other Sayreville parents? That is hypocrisy. That is wrong. And then, of course, God gives us the fifth commandment, honor your mother and your father. Is that honoring mom and dad by keeping them in the dark? There's more to be said on this, but please repeal this policy. It's destructive. It needs to go away. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else from public?
My name is Brandy Michol. I live at 28 Skytop Gardens. Both of my children, my older one just graduated, my younger one is in the 9th grade here in Sayreville. And I wasn't going to speak tonight, but following that, I need to. My son is trans. My son came out and was safe in the Sayreville School District. My son tried out his identity at school first because it was a safe place. And I beg you not to take that away from other children. Did I know my son was doing this? Absolutely, because I'm very in touch with my children. But I was so happy that he had a safe place here in Sayreville that he could explore who he is and be accepted and loved for who he was. I love my son. He blossomed when he discovered who he was. He was an integral member of the marching band, was the drum major his senior year. He graduated with music honors and is now at Kane University studying music education because he wants to bring that safe space to other children. And I beg you not to take that space away. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Lillian Rivera, and I live in Monroe Township, and I appreciate the time to be able to address you. I wanted to start by acknowledging the intent behind Policy 5756 to provide support and protection for students. However, I'm deeply concerned that the policy oversteps a bit its bounds, undermining family values. Parents are entrusted by God with the responsibility to guide, nurture, and love, and protect their children. No institution should override or interfere with that sacred duty. Parents play an irreplaceable role in shaping their children's understanding of the world, especially on sensitive topics like gender identity. When policies exclude parents from these discussions, they disregard this essential role and introduce risks we have yet to fully understand. A child's emotional, psychological, and spiritual development should not be left solely in the hands of a school system that does not share in the daily, personal responsibility of raising that child. At what age can a child truly comprehend these discussions? Childhood and I can never get that word right. Adolescence are times of rapid development where self-esteem, identity, and values are still forming. Parents, not schools, are best equipped to guide their children through these complexities in a way that aligns with their faith, emotional needs. When schools bypass parents, children may receive conflicting messages. I did when I was a child. That lead to confusion, distress, and erosion of the foundation of the family that the families have built for them. Another major concern is how schools determine whether a home is unsafe based solely on a child's statements. Protecting children from harm is essential. I loved the discussion about the school buses. That was incredible. And that's protecting our children. But assumptions without proper investigation, potential proper investigation, can unjustly tear families apart. Who makes these decisions? Are licensed child welfare professionals involved? What safeguards exist to ensure that a misunderstanding does not separate a child from their strongest source of love, faith, and stability, their family? Parents are not obstacles, and I respect everybody's opinions and life and everything, and their love for their children. Like I was saying, parents are not obstacles. They are partners in their children's education and well-being. Schools and families should work together to provide and support. We're not dismissing. We just want more clarity and to let us know. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from public?
Hi, my name is Stephen Chitkowski. Spoke in Sayreville, New Jersey, 5 Road Street, since 1966. Spoke last time I was here. I think that you as a board, you're hearing people who care about their children, and yet there are other concerns about their children. I've gone to at least 500 to 1,000 homes for the prior campaign. There was not one household that I stopped at, whether they were Jewish, they were Muslim, they were Buddhist or Hindu, Christian, Catholic. They were all concerned about the policy. So you as a board, I believe over 30 school districts have already rescinded 5756 here in New Jersey. It's going to be something that you guys have to deal with. So you need to deal with it in a way that will support the parents so that their children can feel safe, and at the same time, other parents will feel like their rights aren't being abused or their parental rights aren't being taken away. So that's what you guys are elected for. That's what you guys need to do. I remember last time my time disappeared, and that's what you need to work for, right? Coming from the top down, there's going to be pressure upon New Jersey. I know whoever the attorney is for the board, I know that maybe they're saying that there's not going to be effect on federal funds. As a taxpayer, I will be very concerned about that, and that was the #1 thing that I heard as I went through was the raise in taxes for the people. So I'm hoping that there won't be a raise in our taxes because of federal funds that are lost. Thank you for your time. God bless you guys.
Anyone else from public?
Good evening, Anthony Sposato, Washington Road. At the last meeting, the husband of a sitting board member said that I had bullied the elderly and comparisons were made to my son and the bullying he has experienced this year in 3rd grade. So let's set aside opinion from fact. Mrs. Chudkowski, when you ran for this board, you took $500 from a man who stood at this microphone, identified himself to the public, and then said 5756 amounts to grooming and flat-out indoctrination. That you accepted money from that man is a fact, not an opinion. He came back, the man that you took $500 from, and stood here at the April 16th meeting and said that supporting kids in the LGBTQ community was, quote, grotesque, and that trans kids have a, quote, well-documented mental illness. That he both said those things on the public record and that you accepted money from him for your campaign after he said those things is a fact, not an opinion. Mrs. Chudkowski, you were also happy to take money from a woman who said, quote, the problem most often is not gender confusion. Something else is going on and needs to be addressed with proper therapy. Those are her opinions, but the fact that she said those things after identifying herself at this podium and that you accepted money from her after she said them, those are facts. What is also fact is that you were all required to share your donor lists as part of your ELEC reporting. Names, addresses, phone numbers, and donation amounts are publicly available to anyone at any time for any reason or for no reason. And even though they identified themselves by name and their donations are listed with all that contact info, I redacted addresses and phone numbers before I shared that information. Good reporting of publicly available data isn't bullying, it's accountability. So, Mrs. Chudkowski, I will let you sit with the knowledge that your husband compared the sharing of public information about who paid you to represent their interests on this board to a 9-year-old boy being told that he should not be alive because he has 2 dads. And my opinion, Mrs. Chudkowski, is that that is sad and small. I wake up each morning to see if we have yet lost the right to exist as a family, while our marriage is challenged in 9 different states, a fear you do not have, by organizations like the one from whom you accepted an endorsement, with open palms. That, Mrs. Chudkowski, is a fact. So some free advice for you. You were elected because of a bingo ball in a bucket that puts you into a great spot on the ballot. So please, do not confuse luck with leverage. Do not waste the time of the public or the board by spouting off about a mandate you think you were given to repeal policies that protect some of our most vulnerable kids. I'm not here as Gabe's dad tonight. I'm here as a resident who saw you rise to power and who will do everything in his power to motivate citizens in this borough, in all the time that I have been given, to challenge the bullshit that you and the people from out of this district rally to spout off. Chris, Jeff, Allison, Eileen, and Eloy, you know what this feels like. Families like mine are under assault across this country, and you know that that is correct. But all you can do is protect the people in front of you. I'm just going to take the extra 15 seconds that Mr. Chudkowski was given last week. That's why I come here, as Gabe's dad. Thank you again for your service to public education and to kids like mine. We are not going away.
Thank you.
Anyone else from public? Okay, seeing none, we will close public.
Check. Good evening, board members. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Leela Heinrich, and I'm a fellow taxpayer from Franklin Township. I'm here to address the concerns surrounding Policy 5756. And that's because in its current form, this policy poses a significant and irreversible risk to the well-being of our children and our children's children. The scientific community and studies, such as those conducted by Oxford University, have highlighted the increasing concerns about the long-term effects of gender-affirming care for minors. We're now witnessing a growing number of detransitioners, individuals like Chloe Cole, who deeply regret their decisions. Transitioned as a teenager, Chloe underwent puberty blockers, testosterone, and a double mastectomy before detransitioning. She even reported that after surgery, her doctor insisted on removing her ovaries due to the adverse side effects from treatment, which would put her at risk of ovarian cancer. She would no longer be able to have children. Fortunately, she refused. She now testifies before legislative bodies, speaks against gender-affirming surgeries for minors, and is working with advocacy groups. Walt Heyer is an American author, activist, and speaker who underwent gender reassignment surgery And for 8 years, he now runs a website called Sex Change Regret. Kat Cattinson took testosterone and now warns against the medical risks. She is active on news and media and is a student of molecular, cellular, and developmental biology. Countries like Sweden, Finland, Denmark, and the United Kingdom have revised their gender-affirming care guidelines, with restrictions placed on prescribing puberty blockers. A recent study by the Oxford Academic Journal for Sexual Medicine, published just last month on February 25th, found that American males with gender transition surgery were 120% likelier to have depression and 388% likelier to have anxiety compared to males who had gender dysphoria without surgical intervention. And for females, it was reported 56% and 48% higher. I speak to you today because I know what it's like to live with depression and anxiety, so debilitating to the point where I no longer want to live. But I'm here to say thanks to God that I found a peace that surpasses all understanding, one that no amount of money, success, fame, social media likes, makeup, or romantic relationships can offer. I no longer tie my identity to those things, which can quickly dissolve or change, but instead, I tie my identity to who God says I am, and that is a child of God. When I was broken and felt all alone, Jesus picked me up, and he told me that I was loved, loved enough to die for. To the LGBTQ plus community, I want you to know that God loves you, God sees you, and he wants a relationship with you, not a religion. And if there are anyone here today who just want to talk to me or need prayer, I'm here for you. Thank you, board members, and God bless you.
Anyone else from public? You can't come back, Lise. Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. Thank you. Okay, we will now close public. Any board comments in closing?
If anybody would like to buy middle school track merchandise, please see me after the meeting, because my daughter is selling.
I'd like to make a comment.
Dr. Labby?
So this has come up on several meetings, and I just want to provide context to this. One of the speakers yesterday, who is the same speaker today, spoke about Policy 5756 and said that in 30 districts it's been rescinded in New Jersey. And while I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, I can put that into context for you, because there are over 630 school districts in New Jersey. So that would represent less than 0.5% of the school districts in New Jersey. So I just wanted to put that into context. Also, this same person spoke about losing federal funds. And this is something that we've talked about, and I think it's important that we clarify this. The only way in which our school district or any school district could lose federal funding is through an act of Congress. The federal funding that we get is through acts of Congress. So that's the only way we could actually lose federal funding. And I'm not saying that we're not going to lose it. I'm just saying that's the only way that we could lose it. But to put that into context for you, seeing that you are asked to approve a $147 million budget, I sound like Dr. Evil, $1 million budget, the federal funding that we receive is about $2 million, which, if you look at the pie chart, it's less than 2% of our funding. In fact, our state funding is 34%, and our tax levy funding is 55%. So I want to make sure that anyone that's watching this at this ungodly hour, by the way, understands that taxes won't go up if, heaven forbid, we were to lose federal funding for any reason at all. The unfortunate thing that would occur, though, is we would have to cut less than $2 million that we've expected each year from that funding from our budget, or not allocate for that. But it certainly would not cause our taxes to go up. And as Mr. Smith pointed out earlier today, thanks to the incredible work of my colleague to my right, that tax levy is only going to increase by less than 2%, even though we're allowed to increase it by more. because of her work. So just wanted to make some clarifications on the things that were stated and also to build context to that so people truly understand what is being said. So thank you.
Thank you. And can I just say one thing, and I'm going to say it quickly. I'm a proud Catholic. I raised my children in a Catholic environment. I believe firmly in my faith. I was elected here as a public official to be guided by the law of the state of New Jersey and from the Department of Education. And separation of church and state is a real thing in this country. So while I appreciate the religious preaching from our podium over there, it has no applicable interest in the laws that we run this school district under.
If I could
Anyone else?
just comment just quickly on that, and I respect the opinions and the convictions and the faiths of, I mean, there's multiple represented here by this entire board and all those present and those who have come out to attend this meeting. I will say that for me personally, as a Christian, as a Bible-believing Christian who has spent the past 30 years alongside my husband studying the Bible, that even though we're not going to be looking to put a Bible in every classroom, but I will say I would love for that to happen, but that's not something that belongs here at a public, on a public school board. My decisions, I do weigh them against my accountability to God. I do weigh them against that. That is how I live my life. That's who I am. Those that voted Katya and Lady and I into these seats are not random bingo ball numbers. Those are voters of Sayreville who cast over 21,000 votes to put us in these seats. These three moms against an incumbent, against a well-respected man in the community who manages multi-million-dollar budgets, and against another well-known gentleman in the community. I'm virtually an unknown in this community. You know, when I came into the public eye was when I felt called by God to run for Board of Education. So I just want to say that for me, this is something that I felt led to do. I fought God on it. It's not something initially that I thought I could take on. The sheer breadth of the responsibility was not taken lightly by me. If I was going to do it, I needed to be all in. And it took me a couple of weeks of prayer to be 100% in on doing this. And Lady as well could share a similar testimony as well as Katya. So I will say that we take the votes that voted us in very seriously. We take our responsibility to represent those votes very seriously. As my husband said in our campaigning, we visited thousands of homes. We talked to thousands of parents. I can say truthfully before my God, there was not one who was aware of the context of 5756. That concerned us. We wanted to educate the people of Sayreville so that they can make an educated decision on whether they wanted this in place. And I will say in closing that them voting us into these seats is Sayreville speaking. I'm not here anymore to do what I think should happen. I am responsible to represent the voters who put me here, my constituents, and I take that seriously. And I'm going to continue forward with the goals that we expressed in our campaign, and 5756 being rescinded is one of them. Thank you.
I want to make a comment as well. I would like to say that as much as I wish that I was elected to this board because everybody loved what I had to say and they all supported me and believed me, the fact is I was elected to this board because I was in the first position, just like you were. Allison, Eloy, we got about 30,000 votes. Does that mean that the people of Sayreville had a mandate that we were, you know, like, everything we said they're going to believe in, everything we believed in they're going to be supporting? Even though we were first 2 elections in a row, we were first, and you're always going to be elected if you're in the first row. The thing, though, was Allison actually was in the bottom.
And she got most votes, more than you, more than anybody ever elected on the Sayreville Board of Ed. Congratulations, Allison. But she also is well connected to parents, PTO, all that stuff. So that's how people knew her more than they knew us. But me and Eloy grew up here. He didn't beat me by much. And I didn't even come from Sayreville. I came from Bayonne. So I just want to say that although you think, and rightfully so, it was your election, you won it, that because of your, what is it called? 57, I can't believe it's coming out of my mouth. 57, 56, okay? That's not why you got elected into Sayreville. And if that was true, that you spoke to thousands of people who support you and voted you in specifically to reverse this policy, where are they? Why are the people that only come to support you from other towns? And your husband, but other towns, I'm speaking, other towns are coming to support you, not thousands of people from Sayreville. So, you know, you have your right, Carrie, Katia, and Lady, to believe in what you want. And like I said before, stick to your convictions, but don't misplace or misunderstand why you got elected. You didn't get elected because of 57, 56. And you've been coming, not you, but I think you came to one, and I think Lady came to one. But this little crowd from all over the state of New Jersey that's coming here to disrupt our meetings, I am so sick of it, okay? Sick and sick. You listen to them. The more I listen to them, and you guys aren't like this, but the more I listen to the followers, these visitors, I am more for protecting people against them. So every time they come, it just reinforces my belief that we need to protect these kids from them. They actually got up here a couple of meetings, like back in April, back in May, saying that we actually groom our autistic children to be transgender so they become popular. So some of the things that have been said, not by you three, but by the people who come here to support 57, the repeal of 5756, have said some horrible things. They really have. And they do not make me support them. Actually, I am more in support of keeping this, and if we ever lost it, I want another policy to replace it, to protect those kids, okay, to protect these parents who are dealing with things that you and your followers feel like we shouldn't, you know, transgender children shouldn't be protected, and they need to be. And, you know, again, I'll say it again, I'll support them till I'm not on the board anymore. And if I go for re-election and I get to be number one, I bet you I'm going to get re-elected. Just like you got elected, she got elected, he got elected, because we were in position numero uno. So that's all I got to say.
Anyone else?
So I would just want to say that I don't think we should minimize the reason why we were voted into place. Again, I'm virtually a no one in this community. I've been living here for 4 years, but I have 5 children in this community. And I don't only care about my children. I don't care about one subset of children. I care about all children. And I can say the same for Carrie. I can say the same for Katya. And I know it's the same for all the board members and everybody sitting here in this room tonight. What I will say is that we are strong in our convictions for a reason, because that policy, and we will talk about it further, but that policy, basically what it does, it's just alienating one subset of children. What happens with the children with disabilities? Do we make a policy off of that and not tell the parents when we think they have ADHD or whatever it is? So we have to think about what that policy entails. We have other policies in place that already protects not only trans children, but all children. The issue with that policy is the fact that it hides things from the parents. And like I said, when I came in the podium as a parent, I'll be darned if something is kept from me as a parent. And I understand that what we're saying is not supposedly happening here in the schools. But again, it opens that window where there is subjectivity. And the teachers, it's unfair to the teachers as well, because we're putting them in an impossible situation where they don't know whether or not to tell the parent. But I will tell you, we are mandated reporters. Teachers are mandated reporters, and they're the first ones to know. They're trained to identify red flags. So if they feel that the child is from an abusive situation, That's long before this policy, and they already know what to do in those scenarios. So again, it's on the parents. It's a parental right to know what's going on with their children.
So ask your kid.
Public session is done.
I just want to mention something. I'm going to be quick. I know that everybody says the 1, 2, 3, and you guys win and automatically, and we worked so hard. I personally, they did, but I'm going to talk about what I did. I went out 2 times, 3 times a week to the houses, talking with a lot of people, and I will say that not long before I went out, I didn't know about the policy. When I read it, and it says, at some point that something is happening to your child and the parent is not going to be informed on what is happening, it is wrong. I feel that the parents are responsible for the kids, not the school. They need to know what is going on with the kids. Transgender kids are the same education as any kids with disabilities. All the kids in Sayreville, deserve the best education and protection. We already have others bylaws that protect the kids. The problem with this one is that we hide things from the parents, that we're teaching the kids that it's all right. Do not talk with your parents. Someone said, oh, you can have a better relationship with your father and your parents, and probably, your kid will come and talk to you. But sometimes this is a scary situation. And I think sometimes they are, afraid to talk with the parents. Not all the cases, but it happened. We as a school, we should guide them, to trust their parents. The parents, the responsibility are the kids, not as the school. So, and all the parents that I went in and spoke, I spoke with a lot of the parents, and they were agree with this. And we were running for this, so we're going to bring it up. We are running for common sense, and we're bringing it up. So I just want to say this.
I want to make one last final statement, and I'm sorry because it's already late, and I know Dr. Levy's looking at me like, shut up. But I do want to say that you said that you don't want the kids to be afraid. I didn't write his name. I just wrote his town, Edison, the guy who was talking about, the gentleman out there who was talking about the Bible and how the kids, there's 2 sexes. You're sending that kid home to him? That's exactly my point. What would he do to that child? That's all I got to say. So
love him.
Okay, just before we go, next meeting, April 1st, let the children lead. Some advice. What I usually do is I type up what I normally say. So the child will have it right in front of them, and I won't have to whisper in their ear. I know Dr. Labby likes to whisper in their ear, but it becomes a stilted conversation. So if you have any questions about anything on the agenda, I recommend that you get them answered before the meeting. Okay, you can reach out to Erin, you can reach out to Dr. Labby, you can reach out to the ladies or Mr. Aguiles, so that we're not burdening the children with trying to repeat too much. But that being said, I hope it will be a peaceful and joyful meeting. And
Best meeting of the year.
is your daughter going to be on it? She was, okay. Well, my granddaughter is going to be one of, she's not me, but she's going to be Mr. Fernandez. So the little ones will be here, and hopefully we will have a nice, calm, and informative meeting.
And if I understood you right, Mrs. Bloom, you said your granddaughter's going to be the best board member on here?
Matter of opinion, Mr. Fernandez.
And just to add a little bit to the agenda, it's a very light agenda, and we try to, it's going to be pretty much, the kids are actually going to be voting on agenda items for SAMHSA. So we try to make sure that the agenda, first of all, is very, very light, and there are no heavy motions. And the motions that we are going to have on there are really going to pertain to SAMHSA, like their field trips and so forth.
Oh, and if you want to make a motion, like when we say so moved, have that on a little piece of paper in front of the kid, and when whoever is me says, we need a motion, then you just point to it, and so your kid will say, so moved. So they'll get, you know, their name. So it's just a cute little thing for the kids. They enjoy doing that.
And I would like to be a little bit more blunt with the traveling visitors that we have. It is a special meeting, and if we could leave 57, 56 home for the next meeting, I would appreciate it and be very grateful. So thank you and have a great night.
Okay, so that's it. Next meeting, April 1st. Following that, the other meeting is April 29th. Move to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.